Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. Before I start today's show, I want to say thank you to everyone who came to see me in Niles, Michigan last weekend. It was a great time at the Underground Laugh Lounge. Who knew that Niles, Michigan would be a great place to do stand-up? I'll tell you who. Sheila and everybody at the Underground Laugh Lounge, thanks so much for a great weekend. It's one of the coolest clubs just because it's in this small town north of South Bend, Indiana. It's in Metro South Bend, if you will. They call it Michiana, the Southwest Michigan, Northwest Indiana. It's like that combination of, like, you go north 10 minutes, you're in Michigan. You go south, you're in Indiana. It's like this weird... It's just weird place where, like, I don't know. You got the university there, but it didn't even seem like that big of a deal. Like, nobody really mentioned it, right? It's a pretty big school, but nobody's really talking about it. Everybody's either from the area or, like, I don't know. It's so bizarre to me how I've been to so many of these small towns, some of which that I can't believe I haven't been to yet. Doing comedy in the Midwest, you end up going to the most bizarre random places. And not bizarre in a bad way, but just like, wow, people have lived here for a long time and people still live here. Like, I think it's cool, I think that's what a real community is, people that don't bail on it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's why a lot of these small towns go kind of forgotten. Industries leave, people leave, and then what's left? You know what's left? An empty old library that someone's going to turn into a comedy club. That's what I did last weekend. First of all, that's like the business I support. And like, if you're in a small town, you want to open a comedy club, I say do it, okay? You can bring some entertainment to your town. That's like a fun thing. But there's things you need too. Like, thank God somebody in that town wanted to open a grocery store, right? Like, I always think about the guy who in town who's like, you know what? I like working on cars. I'm going to be the mechanic in town. It's like there's one of each business. It's as if it was like drawn up. It's like Springfield on The Simpsons. You got the bar, the Quickie Mart, you have every location. It's like the same thing. Every location is a character in this town. But it's a great town. It's small. It's got all you need, right? You got the bar, you got the cool bar, you got the comedy club. Also, they put a bar in the comedy club too. That's like a separate business, so you can go upstairs and have drinks after, and they operate it as a speakeasy, so there's even like a code to get in, which is like, that's fun, right? And it's run by this French guy with, legit French, and I'm like, we're in Niles, Michigan. Where'd you come from? How'd you end up here? That's the thing that blows my mind about some of these towns. It's like, what? So this place is killing it. Great comedy shows, great bar upstairs. I say check it out. It's a destination town. It is now, now that I've been there. Huh? So there's also this restaurant in town that is very accommodating to the comedians. They kind of sponsor the club or sponsor the shows or something, but they actually feed us, So Sheila, the owner's like, yeah, go down to, this cafe and they'll give you a free meal each day. I'm like, that's so nice, Oftentimes it's the club itself shelling out for it, which is great, but the fact that another business is involved and they're like, yeah, we'll happily feed these random guys that come to town and ladies, and we'll throw them a free meal. And sure, they sponsor the club and stuff, but man, the fact that this can happen, I think, is great. I don't know if you get this kind of treatment in a big city. You can do clubs in any big city, and it's not too often that another business is like, you know what? Yeah, I'll give you free stuff. And that's what I like about this place. You feel like you're part of a community. It's pretty cool. And this is how you know you're in a small town too, by the way. So they give you this little slip to show the servers at the cafe if you're going to go have a meal. And so as soon as I walked in, this girl working, and she looked young to me, right? So like, I'm in my early 30s. If this girl looks young, she's got to be in her early 20s, right? She's like it's got to be in college or late high school. So she knew right away. She was like, oh, you're one of the comedians? I go, yep. She goes, have a seat, order what you want, whatever. Finish my meal. And she goes, hey, whenever you want to leave, just let me know and you're all set, So there's not even a bill involved, nothing. And now I don't carry cash with me. I have no cash. And I'm like, well, I got a tip. I can't be a jerk, I can't be one of these guys, especially when they know who I am. Like, that's the other thing. You got to be on your best behavior when you got one of these badges walking around town, okay? You got You got to make sure you tip right, and it is a cafe. The service was great. Like what, like how bad can it be if I'm not even going to, so my little trick, and it's not even a trick. I feel like it's just what you're supposed to do if you're a good person. You tip on the bill, what the bill would have been, right? I hate these people who are like, we got 50% off. I'm tipping on this 50%. I'm like, that's not the same. That's not fair to the person waiting on you, And it's a small town. I'm like, you can look like a baller on with not a lot of money, So that's what I did. I was like, she was a great server. She was very accommodating, all this stuff. So I don't have cash and I'm panicking. I'm like, great. Now I don't know how I'm going to, tip this person. And I don't know what because I've been in this situation before. And can we all just get Venmo now? Can we just do it? Okay. Because don't make me feel bad because I don't carry cash. It's not fair to me. Okay. Because this is twice in a week I've had to do this. I kind of like flag her down and I go, great. Now I got to explain to her that I don't carry cash, So hopefully she's got some sort of form of digital payment that I can send her, right? So I go, look, I don't have any cash. I don't have my card either. I can't really go to an ATM. Can I Venmo you? Do you have Venmo and I'll tip you? And this is the thing is like, this is what I like about servers like her. She's like, yeah, that's fine. But she also said it in a way of like, I think I do. And I'm like, okay, well, you're younger than me. How do you not have this? This is everything. This is how everything's done now. And she knows she has it, but she's like, I gotta like set it up and all this stuff. So she's like, also she's trying to work. So she's dealing with me and she pulls out her phone, she pulls up the app and she's like trying to remember how it works. And she's like, do I give you my username? And I go, yeah, just what's your like name? I'll just send it right to you. And she just goes, you know what? Here, just have my phone and send me and then she just goes back to serving, she's just waiting on other people. And I get it. She was in the middle of something, but she also wants my money, So I'm like, she is so trustworthy because like I could have done anything, Like if you looked at my transactions on Venmo, half of them would be to servers who I tipped, And I hate when they don't. I hate this cash only business is just like so frustrating. To me, who's just like, I'm like, dude, it's not that I don't have money. I'll even tip more because you were so helpful and nice about it. But I don't like these people who are like, sorry, cash only. And I'm like, I'm literally about to give you $20. You don't want it? I'm sorry you don't have a bank account, but that's like on you, I respect the cash only companies though, the businesses. Like I just got a haircut today. I mean, literally freshest cut you ever seen on me. An hour ago. And I walk in and there's something about the place that it's not posted anywhere obvious. And it's like you walk in and I go, I better ask if this is cash only before she starts cutting my hair. Cause I brought my credit card. It's 2024. Okay. You're making this harder for everybody. Also, you wonder why it's hard to stay in business, And sure enough, she goes, it's cash only. And I'm like, great. I go, well, I'll have to come back then because I don't have cash or like my debit card or whatever. Because she goes, we got an ATM right here. It's in the door, right inside the door. And I'm like, so you're telling me you're all right with the technology of an ATM, but you can't just accept a debit or credit card? And I love it. I love that it's still allowed somehow, Like if you have a cash only business, you may as well say, hey, we don't pay taxes properly. And also this lady that cut my hair was older. It was so funny. I'm the customer at any business that's like, well, like if you bring me the wrong food, I'll eat it. In fact, that backfired on me one time. I went out to lunch and they brought out the entire wrong thing. And I didn't say anything because I hate myself. Okay. I'm like, I'm not going to be this guy who's sending food back. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to eat it. And then about 20 minutes into the meal, the server comes over and she goes, you didn't order that, did you? And I go, no, I ordered the burger or whatever it was. And she goes, why would you eat this? This was someone else's. So like I ruined everything. I was just trying so hard to not be complainy, I didn't want to be that guy, but sometimes it just backfires on you, Just something about this lady cutting my hair today was the same way. I go, you know what? I don't know if I feel comfortable with her cutting my hair. So, but I'm going to let her do it. She's just like, you walk in and she's like, she's older and that's not a problem. Sometimes that means they have experience, but She's older. I called the head. I made sure they took walk-ins. She goes, "Oh, you're the guy that called." And I go, "Yep." And I go, "Man, there is nobody here. There's nobody. There's nobody coming in. It's clear that this place is slow." That's what I love is like they act like there's demand, but there's no demand at this place. So I'm like, what am I getting myself into right now? I'm going to let her cut my hair anyway because I'm going to a wedding this weekend, and this is what I get for waiting until the last minute to get a haircut. I have no choice but to look like a moron. I mean, that's a gamble right there, is getting your haircut 3 days before an event that you're probably going to be in a photo for, You don't want to look like a moron. You're supposed to get your haircut 2 weeks prior to the event, right? At least if you're a guy. This way it has time to grow out and, match your face a little bit. But getting back to the cash-only biz, as soon as I tell her, you know what? Because this was going to be my out, actually. I was probably going to chicken out. And I was literally like, well, I don't have cash. I have to go get my debit card, and I probably wasn't going to come back. That was kind of in the back of my head. Like, maybe I'll just go home. And then not get a haircut and go to this wedding. That's probably what I would have ended up doing. But then she goes, no, just let me cut your hair and then you can go get it. And, go get your card. You can use ATM or whatever. Just you'll have to leave something here like as collateral. And I'm like, great. Now I'm bringing collateral into this deal, Somehow this was the answer she came up with. So I was like, you know what? That makes total sense, lady. I'll leave my ID with you. That makes sense. I'll drive home without my license and get my debit card so I can pay you cash. See, this is the thing. Is like they would have lost it. See, but they'd also know how to get around it because she's like, no, I'm going to lose a customer if I let this guy go home. So instead, we'll make him drive without a license, and then he'll have to go get his own debit card. It just fascinates me because, what if something happened to me while I was out? I didn't have my ID. I don't know. Let's say I got arrested or something. I mean, I could still if I was the right kind of a-hole, if I could just get a new license, if I really couldn't afford I think it was like $30. If I didn't have $30, I mean, I'd just get a new license. Granted, that'd probably cost me like 30 or 50, right? So maybe, you know what I'm trying to say. It was just the weirdest haircut place because it was like cash only and they're really hanging on to that. And when I walk in, there's two people working. It's her and this other lady. And the other lady had a kid who was probably 10 or 12 just in the chair. And the kid is talking like he's at a salon. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I wish I'd could record it or something because it was so funny. He's just gossiping about all these people, his family. Oh, I have family in over, he's telling stories about his life as if he's a middle-aged woman at a salon. It was the best thing ever, and I could not for the life of me figure out if he was there with family. There was nobody else there, and he just walked out and walked into the city. That's crazy to me. It blows my mind. I mean, don't get me wrong. I grew up in the suburbs, so we drove everywhere. We didn't really go. I mean, but when I was 10, I couldn't imagine just walking up to the salon, getting my hair cut, and just gabbing it up with the lady working there, and that lady's talking to him like it's normal. I don't know if this is just a city thing, but it is funny to me. This kid just it was like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone when he did all these adult things and talked like an adult. Oh, by the way, so I had last week, you'll remember I talked about how an ATM took all of my money from me, and you know what? I get this whole thing sorted out. And by sorted out, I mean I call my bank, I make them call that bank, and I make them fix it for me. And everything's going fine. However, it's 7 days later, and still no cash in my account. And you know who's getting pretty impatient? This guy. Why is it that as soon as I take that money out at the ATM, that money is gone? But the minute they mess up, she tells me it's going to take up to 15 days, 2 weeks, she says. I'm like, what? I go, can you tell me if they found the cash? Basically saying, yes, he did deposit this much. Yes, our machine ruined it, right? How does it take 10 days, right? I thought that was the perk of all this computer stuff, So I'll keep you posted on it. If you see some news story about a guy losing his mind at a bank, see, that's the thing is I don't have the guts to go in there and cause a scene. I want to look at this guy, and I would never do anything, illegal, but I do want to be honest with him. Mainly because of his attitude. This guy was so mad at me for having a very fair question. And maybe I caught him on a bad day. Maybe it was close to the end of his shift. I don't know. But I want to go back in there and be like, hey, it's been a week. How do you not know if you guys have my cash or not? And he's gonna give me all this attitude about it. And all they had to do was, this is literally in a normal, sane world, all you got to do is open it up and go, oh yeah, here it is. Have it back. So frustrating. Anyway, I recorded my shows in Niles last weekend, and I haven't had time to really listen back and edit them, but there was a lot of crowd moments that I thought were pretty funny that I want to do something with, either post them online or, use the audio in some way on this podcast. I think I might, so look for that in the future. Once I finally have time to sit down and edit everything together. That first show in Niles was so much fun. It was like, as soon as I stepped on stage, this woman was like, you gotta earn it, I'm talking 10 seconds. I haven't even put my drink on the stool yet. And she's like, you gotta earn it. And I was like, look, lady, I'm doing you guys a favor. All right. I came to Niles to entertain you. You didn't have to leave town for this. Okay. I'm here. It'll be fine. And it went great, but it was really funny. It's like it was one of those crowds where, and this place is a 90-seater, by the way, 90 seats. That's all you need, really. It's the perfect size. Because it's like, even if you get 50 people in there, which isn't sold out, but it feels like everybody's on top of each other. No one knows it's not sold out. You know what I mean? Like it's all, I would say, leading up to the show itself, a lot of it is just creating the environment for the audience to be like, I don't want to say coaxed into having to laugh, but like you set the room tone for like, okay, this is gonna be fun. This place is cool. Like we're here to have a good time. You know what I mean? You can set it up so it's easier for everybody. It's easier for the audience to enjoy the show, and it's easier for the comedians to do the show. And I feel like when those things come together, it's kind of magical in a way, and that's what happened there. Now, I'm the type of comic who's like, please don't say a word to me while we're doing the show. However, if you do, I'm not gonna swear at you and kick you out necessarily. It depends on what you do and say, of course, or if it gets too out of hand. But like, yeah, if you heckle me and it's worth me responding, then yes, maybe I'll get into it with you. And that's what happened in Niles Friday. The crowd was they were just loose, and so was I, and it was just so funny. I don't think I did more than 10-20 minutes of material, and when you're trying to work on stuff, it's frustrating. However, everyone was having fun. I was having fun. So I kind of went with it, and we just goofed around. So I got a lot of funny stuff out of it, but I don't know how to use it. I have it all recorded and filmed, and so I'm thinking about when moments like this happen at my live shows, playing clips of it on the podcast. So I think I'm going to work it into this somehow, but look for that in the future. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please hit subscribe and listen every week. I talk about nothing on here, so it's kind of like I realize I'm no, this is just, it is what it is. I just like to tell stories, talk about my day, my week, my life, maybe newsy type events. However, sometimes there's just nothing fun to talk about. So if you enjoy this mindless ramblings, I appreciate you listening. Please do hit subscribe. Tell your friends about this. Give it a share or a like, whatever. And I'm finally going to get this website up. So once that's up, you'll see it. And in the meantime, sign up for that email list. That's even better. And then you'll know when I'm coming to your town next. So thanks so much for listening, everyone. And we'll see you next week for an all-new episode of Nate Knows Nothing.